This is And Now You Know, and in studio are some of the most alluring men in the world.
Hi, folks. My name is Marlow Hooper, law clerk and ukulele aficionado.
Kevin Bailey, technical recruiter and professional cloud watching enthusiast.
And I'm Austin Cross, professional producer, harmonica extraordinaire, and, of course, your host. And Now You Know is a show that talks about the issues that are important to you. Today, we're talking about fun in the sun for less. That's dating on a budget. Everyone's got a budget. We've got the tips, tricks, and hacks. A little later in the show, we talk to Susan Lomax with LA Tourism. She has the hot spots that won't cost you a lot of green. And do you want to save up to 90% on the best places in town? We talk to Kaetlynn Daoust with Groupon. All that and much, much more coming up on And Now You Know. LA is a city for lovers, but let's face it, it costs an arm and precisely one leg to live here. Of course, people spend so much money on rent, there isn't much room left in the budget for a night on the town with that special someone. Well, we're here to hook you up with the tips that you need to have fun without breaking the bank. Now, gents, we all know from experience, it can be really hard.
Oh, yes, it can. I don't know half the time if my wallet hates me or if my wallet loves me.
And it's a real challenge because once you're out of college and you're out in the world, nobody really wants to pay you too much. So, of course, it's a real challenge to take out the people that we like and/or love and get them to like and/or love us a little bit more.
I just remember in college, I would eat ramen noodles for my lunchtime, and for dinner, I would take some girl out to some fancy restaurant. So how's that for some...
Isn't it ironic?
I think, don't you think? No, I think that that's a very common story, actually, among young people today, because you do have to watch your budget and you watch where you're putting your money and you say to yourself, well, what's the most important thing to me right now? And that may be capturing the heart of that special someone.
I think this goes for guys and girls across our nation and our millennial generation. We are willing to spend the extra dollar on somebody we care about, despite the fact that we have super high rents to pay and student loans to pay back. It's tough, but we find a way to make it work.
And you learn, I think, as you grow, you learn how to balance your surviving and then still going out with friends.
Sure, yeah. Ultimately it comes down to budgeting, which is a new concept. If you've been in school for 25 years and they're like, hey, this is the real world. Go buy things and figure things out. Pay bills and rent and stuff. It's tough.
Of course, there are a lot of great things happening in LA, and we'll talk about a few of those later. And you really don't have to break the bank to go out. And these are things that we've learned from experience because, again, when you have a really tight budget, you can't always go to that really fancy dinner.
Yeah, and nowadays, I don't even recommend, especially if it's a first date, I don't recommend going to dinner. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea.
No, that's a good one. Now, so what do you do?
There's plenty of other things to do. Be a little bit more original. Take a girl out hiking, go parasailing, do something that you...
Parasailing on what budget, Kevin?
Is it dating on
what country and city are you living in?
Dating on a budget. I'm assuming everybody's millionaires that are listening to the show, right?
Parasailing, of course.
Okay, maybe not parasailing, but do something that's exciting, that's a little different, a little out of the normal. When you're dating with a restaurant, you're having one person on one side, the other person on the other side, and you're just having to talk with each other right there.
Oh, God forbid you should communicate on the first date.
Without any other stimulus around to kind of distract you a little bit. Like when you're walking around, like say, what is it? Downtown Disney.
I hear you.
Downtown
Absolutely.
Disney. There's a lot of music and there are a lot of things going on that you can kind of, so you're not just, it doesn't feel like it's like an interview where you're like, so how are you doing? I'm doing fine.
And I think that's one of the oldest date ideas in the world is, hey, let's go for a walk somewhere that we can't afford.
It works. Let me tell you, my girlfriend and I, our first date was actually at Downtown Disney.
There you go.
But for many of the reasons that Kevin said, they're very true. There's live music, a lot of people, good energy. It's just a positive place to take a girl on a first date.
Now let's talk about that first date because that's very important. The key, of course, is you want them to walk away thinking that you're a great, adventurous person, but that means that you really have to choose that first date carefully. So, will a coffee date or a lunch date get you there?
No.
It might.
Why do people go on coffee dates
because it's affordable and it gives you a nice perk.
But it's so boring.
It gives you a chance to actually kind of, what's that magic word, talk to the person who you're actually with, because you're talking about all these outside stimuli, but the key to deciding whether or not that person gets a first date is they need to, of course, hit on all of your top values. Values are so key, of course, and so their values and, of course, what they're into, because as Marlow, you said, you take a girl on a first date to Downtown Disney. What if she doesn't like Disney? What if she thinks it's cliche? But she probably won't work with you if she doesn't like Disney, right?
No Disney, no Marlow.
Do something that I think is exciting to you both, or at least something that you feel passionate about, or something that's just not so mainstream, so average. Coffee shops to me are
But
just
I mean,
so
I think you're overthinking the
boring.
first date concept.
But on that same token, do something that's a little different. I can agree with you there. However, remember it's a first date, and that this girl or this guy that you're dating, they might not be the right person for you anyway. So you don't want to go too overboard. You don't want to take them to too special of a place
no
because
parasailing.
I think
no parasailing.
I think you're getting a little.
Boring.
I'm sure you saw Hitch, and of course for Hitch, his first date was like, okay, let's get on Sea-Doos and go, to Ellis Island and look at the name of your ancestors. It's a little excessive. Okay, that only happens in Hollywood. He spent a lot of money and a lot of time on that one idea, but there's a very high likelihood that the person who you're out with, you probably won't be with long term. I mean, if you look at the drop-off rate, it's probably an 80%. I mean, there is one person for you, but that means if you date 10 people, there's 9 duds you spent a lot of money on. And that's a challenge because when you're going on these casual dates, you're dating one person this week, one person next week, you really have to watch your budget even closer.
Yeah, I used to have like a plan. I used to have my date. Oh, this is gonna get me in trouble. I used to have like my dating plan where I knew my steps and what I would do every time I go on a date. I had like a structure of like, this is the perfect date, and this is how I did it.
First date.
I think the first date, because this was back when I was in Florida, I would walk them around their little downtown center, little downtown area that they had, and we would just talk and be able to kind of connect with each other while still having other things to talk about. It was a great distraction, and believe it or not, a lot of the people, at least where I live, they didn't go out outside of the school area, so they didn't see a lot of the things outside, so it was actually a lot of times kind of new.
But I'll say that, I mean, I didn't want to throw a wrench in your plan here, but college is different altogether. I mean, college, they'll be happy with a sandwich. I think, it's like, gee, I'm starving. I need something to actually eat. I'm not thinking about parasailing. We're going to rag on you a lot for that.
You may say he's a dreamer.
Parasailing.
He is the only one.
It's a thing to do.
Of course. Well, later on the show, we talked to somebody from Groupon. Groupon might actually help make Kevin's dream a reality. We're going to wrap up this segment, but when we come back with more, and now you know, we talked to Susan Lomax with LA Tourism for hot spots around the city. If you're not from LA, don't feel left out. We're going to cover you too. All of that is coming up and much, much more on And Now You Know. And hey, if you're on Facebook, I know you're on Facebook. I see you right now. You're on Facebook. Check us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/And Now You Know Radio. Facebook.com/And Now You Know Radio.
Way you move your hips when you're strutting down the street. Oh, it makes a man so weak in the knees. Lipstick on
This is And Now You Know. I'm Austin Cross.
I'm still Marlow Hooper.
Kevin Bailey.
Well, welcome back. Where do you go when you want to have fun, but you don't want to spend too much? Well, you've got the answers. Now, let's be frank. It's easy to date when you have the money. It can be challenging when your budget is tight, but it's not impossible. You just have to do some homework. Well, we did the homework for you today. Susan Lomax is VP of Communications at LA Tourism, and she joins us now. Susan, a lot of people are dating on a budget these days. How can folks have fun in the City of Angels without breaking the bank?
Well, I always say that you're only limited by your imagination in Los Angeles because there's literally something for everyone. Whether you like the outdoors, you're more of an arts and culture enthusiast, you want to try something completely new, you'd like to hike or bike. Literally, there are more than 100 free ways to take advantage of all the things to do in Los Angeles.
Hi, Susan, Marlow here. A lot of people come to LA from many different places and they want to see the sights. Where can they go for that?
Well, there's actually no better way to take advantage of LA's near-perfect weather than to get out and walk around. There are hundreds of miles of hiking trails and hundreds of different options. And some of the most popular are, of course, hiking to the Hollywood sign. But if you've already done that, there are so many different hiking options all throughout the Griffith Observatory area that take you past the famous Bronson Cave where Batman was shot. And there are even some fun night hikes. There's a group called the Blacklist LA that does hikes and runs at night throughout Los Angeles.
Hey, Susan, you mentioned the Hollywood sign. That seems like a very LA thing to do. Have you ever gone to the Hollywood sign?
I have actually done the hike to the Hollywood sign many times. Of course, the number one thing that all of my friends and family who are visiting to Los Angeles want to do. But it's not just the sign itself that they want to take a picture in front of. It's the hike along the way past some really wonderful architecture, some beautiful homes, some really interesting streets and neighborhoods.
Of course, museums are also great date spots, are there? Any free museums in LA, though?
Well, actually, what a lot of people don't know is that there are 105 museums in LA, more than any other city in the country. Many of them are free every day of the year, and a lot of them are free on certain days of the year. So I always encourage people to go to the websites and check and see what they're offering.
Well, Susan, for me personally, I like to have experiences. Where can couples go to have these experiences together?
Well, again, I go back to, if you can think of it, you can find it in Los Angeles. Something that a lot of people don't know about is that Pasadena offers free archery lessons. It's the Pasadena Roving Archers, and they offer a free class to first-timers on Saturdays. And if you want to take something that you think you know, like the Hollywood Bowl, they actually have something called the Bowl Walk, where you can enjoy the grounds, and if you're lucky enough to be there on a day when the orchestra might be practicing, you're even able to go in and listen to the orchestra for free.
That's Susan Lomax with LA Tourism. Susan, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's been wonderful talking to you, and I would just encourage everyone listening to go check out discoverlosangeles.com for a list of all of the 100 free things to do in the area.
All right, gents, so we covered first date in our first segment, but now here's the challenge. Even if you do a great job the first time, can lightning strike twice? I mean, how do you really keep it up?
The person that you're dating, if they are worth it, the second date will come to you.
How will you know if they're worth it, though? I mean, do you really know after a first date?
That's something I used to have trouble with, because I would have the first date, we would like go out somewhere, and then the second date I'd be like, oh, so do you want to like do that again?
And it's really weird because you're also making an economic decision. It's like, I like this person, but it's $10.
Do I eat tomorrow at all, or take this girl to go see Guardians of the Galaxy?
Marlow, Austin, and Kevin, the Untold Stories.
And then you have to worry about that binging, though. So, like, let's say you have a plan for, like, Friday night and you're looking forward to it. Then, like, Friday evening at, like, 5, she's like, oh, sorry, something came up, so we can't hang out. And you're like, okay, I'm going to buy steak. And then afterwards, ice cream. You eat it and you're like, oh, man, that was my budget for the year. So now.
I one time spent $150 on one date, and I was not making any money.
Kevin, get out of here. Get out of here. Leave.
No,
you're still paying it off.
Shame
you
story.
need to go work
Shame story.
and make that money back before you can come back into the studio, okay?
Yeah, indentured servitude.
I bought her
is the next step.
lobster, wine, and I think we ended with a hug at the door.
And she's happily married now in Connecticut with 2 kids.
A hug. Well, so let me ask you. Though. I mean,
Dating on a budget.
Does it have to be money? I mean, did that $150 really make a difference from, like, say, you went out and played pool together for $10?
That's it, exactly. It really comes down to money, especially when you're first, meeting somebody. That it doesn't have anything really important to do with things. I mean, just because you can go parasailing or what have you, doesn't mean that it's going to be a good date. The date really comes with the quality and the connection that you have with the person.
And I agree, and that's a very important thing, especially here in LA. You get a lot of people that just want to date to have fun, and with that said, you will have people that come to you after they've dated maybe 4 guys that same week just to have that experience, whether it be you taking them out to dinner or taking them to mini golfers, anything. You have to watch that. You have to watch that, and it's important to find somebody who you can connect with on a deeper level so that it takes a lot of pressure off the next few dates.
One of the best dates I ever had was at a park, and I didn't spend one dime at that park. We just walked around because she was really busy, and it was, obviously at the end it didn't work out, but it was one of the most rewarding dates that I've ever gone on because it was just us in this really nice setting, and we got to be real with each other. There wasn't a lot of noise and clutter, and we really got to connect with each other.
Well, I think that's really cute, Kevin, but I wanted to come back. Sorry. It's like something that Marlow said, though, is Marlow said she's probably been on 4 different dates this week, and I know I don't want to alienate the women, so also guys can also date around a lot, though. So what you really have to compete with is your date better than somebody else's? Are you connecting as well as they connected with somebody else? I mean, it's really a fight.
And I think the most important thing is you having that connection with that person. That's what's going to separate you from any other person that person has dated that week or that year even.
And that's why you don't go on coffee dates on the first time. Or the movies, because she's done it a million times.
Well, let me say, though, Downtown Disney in LA, that's also probably everybody's done a date at Downtown Disney.
They haven't done it like Marlow's done it.
At that time, I was just making the argument of how it's important to do a date where there's a lot of stimuli and that it's exciting and that you're not just across a table from each other talking. I would much rather do that than have a dinner date.
It's like, so do you like stuff? Yeah, I love stuff.
Me too.
And I agree with what Kevin's saying, but on the same token, I'd say do that and focus on making the later dates a little more special. But I wouldn't put that much energy into the first date because, like you said, you spent $150 on a date with some girl who's gone somewhere and you'll never see her again. So it's kind of a waste.
I remember I read somewhere about the low rate first date, and that changed my world because I thought about that, and it's so true. I mean, why are you going to put in so much investment into something that just started out and you don't even know if it's going to go past the first date?
So the way I look at it is this: it's the first and second date. It's an audition process. The audition for Marlow's heart.
Oh, that's
sad. But if you think about it in that sense, if you think about it, maybe this is just a theater guy in me, but if you think about it as if you're the casting director and you have to fill this role, and these girls are auditioning for this particular spot, if you think about it that way, it kind of takes the pressure off of you in a sense because it allows for you to do simpler dates the first couple dates, and if that person passes those previous auditions, then you can do your special date because that person might mean something more to you.
Okay, I have a confession. So when I was in college, my college was right next to a Marie Callender's. Marie Callender's, I don't know if they have those everywhere. It's like a kind of middle of the road, semi-nice restaurant. I mean, the prices would imply that you're doing pretty well if you're eating there. We were right across the street from a Marie Callender's. I didn't even have a car. So, of course, in college, the thing to do was, okay, ask her out and go to Marie Callender's. And so, I mean, of course, I come in there and the person who's at the front, the greeter, is like, oh, this guy's back again. It's a different person this time. But
Austin origins.
The cast has changed, but the script stays the same. How about that? Well, I have to say, though, that the challenge, though, was that I had so little money at the time, then you would have to make the decision. Do I eat or do I take her out for like a $20 sandwich?
She's going to have the prime rib. I'll have a water, please.
Yes. Have your finest tap water.
Do you charge for ice?
Well, all that, and I apologize to my lovely girlfriend, Kirsten, for that story. It was definitely a strange one.
I think we all apologize.
This is one big group apology. Well, coming up on more, and now you know, we're going to talk with Groupon. Groupon is the place that's going to help you save for that next date. You can have a great experience for a lot less money. That's all coming up, and if you haven't checked this out yet, facebook.com/and now you know radio. We'll have much more coming up after this.
Back in LA, waiting for the sun to shine. Back in LA, living down a life of crime.
This is And Now You Know, and you may think that coupon clipping sounds like something your grandmother did, but think again. Have you ever heard of Groupon? It could save you a lot of money on your next date. Kaetlynn Daoust is the resident gift expert. How do you get a job title like that? Resident gift expert with Groupon, and she joins us now. So, Kaetlynn, how does it all work?
If you're not familiar, Groupon is a shopping website where you can go to find the best deals on things to do, eat, see, and buy in your local community. So customers can just go to Groupon.com either on their phone or their computer, and they can browse the thousands of deals we have from restaurants to spas to hotel stays and experiences and everything in between.
The one thing I noticed about LA is that everybody lives in their own particular bubble. For instance, the people in Los Feliz tend to not travel farther than Los Feliz. The people in Silver Lake tend to not leave Silver Lake. But there's so many gyms in this city.
You know, so people tend to miss out on really great restaurants and businesses in their backyard. So with Groupon, you know, we want to make it easy to discover these new businesses with minimal effort. So if you go to the website, you plug in your city, and we'll populate a curated list of the best things to do. And you can do it right from your couch. You can do it on the go. You know, we want customers to check Groupon first when they want to spice up their routine because, you know, we have everything from horseback riding to NASCAR, drive-alongs to dance classes to skydiving, and everything's at a huge discount.
Hey, Kaetlynn, obviously I know that we're all living in Los Angeles, but some of our listeners may not be living in LA. Does this work everywhere?
We're in most major cities, and I think in every state. You just plug in your city into the search box on the website, and we'll populate anything that's in the relative area.
So, Kaetlynn, what type of deals are out there for couples who are looking to have some fun for less?
Well, you know, summer's starting to wind down, so we are launching a shop called Fall Favorites. with a whole bunch of deals that have to do with the autumn. So there'll be activities like corn mazes and pumpkin patches, tailgating deals, tickets for sports games. We might be able to have some college football game discounts, which we're excited about. There's fall apparel, boots and scarves, Halloween-related deals. We've got all sorts of things that are going to be coming up in the next few days.
Many people may think that it's too early in the year to be thinking about the holidays, but they are coming up fast. Do you have any good discount gift ideas?
Well, I think one of the hardest things about giving gifts is simply coming up with an idea of what you want to give. And I can't tell you how many times Groupon has actually come through for me in both giving me an idea for a gift as well as saving money. So if you go to Groupon.com, what makes our gift-giving experience unique is that it's twofold. We like to help you pair cool products with fun experiences. So this holiday season, why not give two things, like a set of stainless steel grilling utensils as well as a barbecue cooking class from a professional chef, or personalized engraved drink tumblers with a whiskey tasting experience. It's more than just a gift that you wrap up and put under the tree. You're giving the gift of a shared experience, maybe a stay at a local bed and breakfast, a vacation in the Caribbean, or a prefix dinner for 2 or 4 for the whole family at a high-end restaurant down the street.
Kaetlynn Daoust with Groupon, thank you for joining us.
You got it. Thank you so much for having us.
There you have it, guys. Coupons. Do you guys use any sort of coupons?
Absolutely. I live on mainly 3 apps: Groupon, Living Social, and Goldstar.
Oh, so you know about Groupon then?
I do.
Whoa.
I'm a fan.
Okay.
It's amazing.
So what do you do with it?
You go either on your phone via the app and you look at all the wonderful things that they may have, or you go online and it will reduce your cost dramatically.
So what's the most fun thing that you've gotten out of these things, though?
I remember I went to a murder mystery restaurant at the Old Spaghetti Factory, and that was really fun.
The one thing I noticed, I subscribe to both Groupon and Living Social, and you see all sorts of deals, especially for me, I'm a music guy. I love going to live shows. I love anything that has anything to do with music, I'm there. And what I noticed is that they have, for instance, $8 tickets to local shows, and those shows can maybe run upwards of $20. Movie tickets, they'll have $8 movie tickets that typically go for maybe $15, $16, and you can grab them for $8 via Living Social or Groupon. So I think these are great ways to save money on these second and third dates without really racking up the big dollars.
Well, so if you don't know, now you know, and you heard it here first. And if you are still wondering what those apps are, if you did not catch them, we will put them on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/and now you know radio. Coming up, we put the cherry on top and we give you our final blessing before we go. That's all coming up right after this. We're back with more, and now you know, and we're talking dating on a budget, and we're going to put the cap on it, and we will start with Marlow.
Dating on a budget. Make sure your person is, as Elaine and Seinfeld would say, sponge-worthy. Make sure that if you're going to take your person out on a date, you're not spending a whole lot unless this person means something to you, because we're young, people are getting out there, they're dating more. It'd be a shame if you were to spend $150 like some people in this room on somebody who you never see again the rest of your life.
I would just say, remember that we're all living in an internet age. Do your research. Some of the sites that I definitely use, and I would definitely recommend if you're not using them now, Groupon, obviously. Living Social, another one is an amazing. Goldstar is amazing. I also forgot about Timeout, and with LA, it's Timeout LA, but if you're living in a lot of the bigger cities, they have a Timeout, whatever your city is. Between all 4 of those apps, you can find a plethora of amazing events in your area that can help you reduce the cost significantly. So definitely check those out. They'll be in the podcast notes.
And it's been said that our generation, yes, this generation that we're living in, is going to be the first generation in history that's going to be less wealthy than our parents, but you can still have good times for less dimes, I'm sure. And if you need more ideas, listen to us, send it to your friends. If you tell them about it, the podcasting gods will be pleased. That's the show. This has been And Now You Know.
I'm still Marlow Hooper.
I'm Kevin Bailey, and I got some cloud watching to do.
And I'm Austin Kress. We'll see you on the interwebs. Check us out at facebook.com/And Now You Know Radio. Again, that's facebook.com/And Now You Know Radio. Thank you very much.
I need $1.